Good afternoon. So I'm Dawn Marie Holder, the Career Counseling Specialist in the Office of Student Services, and we are joined by Professor Brown, who is the founder of the Diversiboard and Professor of Law at Penn State Law and the School of International Affairs. And she is here to provide you with all the ins and outs that you need to know in terms of how to prepare your resume and how to be successful in applying for roles that would be featured here. So I'm going to hand over to Dr. Brown at this time. And please be mindful that the session will be recorded, but we are keen to answer your questions. But you did have some students who were not, some fellow colleagues who were not able to participate in the live session today. Okay, over to you, Professor Brown.
Okay, thank you for joining us this afternoon. I'm very happy to see the turnout, which is very good. I'm actually speaking to you from Christchurch, so not too far away from presumably where most of you are.
Good.
And I also would like to introduce to you Panav, a member of my team who is also on this call. Panav, I would ask you if there's anybody in the chat who is asking me a question. Sometimes when I'm lecturing, I find it a little difficult to monitor the screen and the chat at the same time. So if there's any important question that comes up in the chat, if you could just let me know and I will be sure to answer it.
Yeah, sure, no problem.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Okay, so as I said, I'm delighted to see the turnout this afternoon. My name is Eleanor Brown. As Dawn Marie had indicated, I am a professor at Penn State. I'm not speaking to you in a Penn State capacity. I'm speaking to you in a different capacity. I am the founder of a company called Diversiboard, and I want to tell you how I came to found this company and why it is I would encourage those of you who have an interest to let us know. So there are significant numbers of opportunities for students who have technical backgrounds at both technology companies and at other companies which are where technology is non-core but nevertheless very important. Financial services companies, insurance companies, regular retail companies throughout the Midwest and central Pennsylvania, which is where I know best. I find that Caribbean people, in part because of our proximity to Florida and our proximity to the East Coast of the United States, tend to focus on job opportunities on the East Coast, places like New York, New Jersey, Connecticut. And on the West Coast, which they know because of the famous nature of technology companies out there, the FANGs, the Googles, Amazons, Apples, Netflix, Facebooks. There's a wide set of states in the middle, which too few Caribbean people look at. So what I am doing is it's become pretty clear to me that these companies have a lot of job opportunities. It's also clear to me that while the pandemic has clearly been a very, very difficult time for us all as countries, as individuals, the one tiny silver lining of that pandemic has been that companies are far more open to workers who are overseas, professionals who are overseas, and professionals who are able to work remotely than they were historically. And people who are technically trained, one of the benefits of having that background is that you are uniquely able to work remotely. And by technical training, I'm referring to people who have backgrounds in computer science, software engineering, electrical engineering, electronic engineering, to the extent they're looking for hardware people as well. I would say, though, more generally, that if you have a background that is technical, even if it is not in one of those specific areas, and if you have programming languages, you can program, we would like you to upload, we would like to see your resumes. Now, clearly there are no guarantees. My experience with technically trained Caribbean people has been very positive. I served on a board of a multinational company that had to do a major technology upgrade. And rather than using engineers and computer scientists in their home country, they used Caribbean trained people trained right at the University of the West Indies, the University of Technology, and other universities in the Caribbean. And they had excellent results. And from that experience, and from my experience of also interviewing for fellowship programs, I am confident that the talent in the region is very strong. So the question in my mind is not of talent, it is of packaging, of people knowing how to present themselves in a way that makes them more likely to receive a favorable result. I should also tell you, after you upload, and we're going to go through, I'm going to take some time now and go through with some specificity what you need to do in the upload process. We're working in 2 phases. I have a team that is helping me to narrow down the submissions. The strongest people will go first, and then after that, we will go back to the general pool. We also have testing opportunities. We will be running tests in different programming languages, tests that will be administered remotely. So you will be able to, just like you are right now, Barbados is in lockdown. So all of you, I'm sure, are doing your classes by Zoom. Just like you're right now, you'll be able to do the test remotely with a remote proctoring software that will ensure that the test is done ethically and persons are not behaving in unauthorized ways. So let me begin by taking you to the website. I'm gonna Panav has is our host, so he's gonna. Okay, so if you're at home and you want to look at it, you can actually type into your web bar diversiboard.com. Okay, then what you do is, Panav, could you click on the place where it says applicants? Okay, and then they're going to ask for a password. Now, how you're going to get this password is, could you please write down this email? Panav, if you could put it in the chat for me, info@diversiboard.com, info@diversiboard.com. You can also click the contact us button to get that email. If you are interested in uploading, I would like you to email after this to that email address, put in the title, student from UWI Cave Hill, so I will know who you are. And I would like you to share in that email to me your LinkedIn profile. You don't need to update that LinkedIn profile for my purposes, although you might need to update it later. I'm simply going to use it to message you. So send me your LinkedIn profile and I will connect with you, and then you will accept, and I will use it as a mechanism of messaging you. One of our team members will message you. Okay, then now, Panav, go a little lower down for me, please, so that they can see the actual bars. Okay, so it's very important that you fill out all of these things. You must leave nothing blank. So name, first and last, email, undergraduate degree. If you are, if you have graduated already, of course, you'll just put your undergraduate degree. If you have not yet graduated, I'm asking you to apply only if you're in your final year. So if you're in your final year and you're going to graduate this year, you can apply this academic year, okay? So put undergraduate degree there. You're also going to put where you go to university. So you would put UWI and Cave Hill campus. Then you're going to put what you studied. So if it's computer science, type that in there. If it's economics, that's fine, type that in there, but you're going to have to be able to show me in your resume that you have some background and you have some programming languages. Then if you have done an undergraduate thesis, That means you have done research in the area that is also beneficial. So I would ask you to type that in there. Okay, now you can put here GPA or degree class. Those of you who are familiar with the American system would recognize GPA. Usually it's out of 4 or it's out of 5, and it's really an average of what your grades have been over the course of your university career. So an A is a 4.2, a B is a 3.2, a B plus is a 3.5, and then we average all of those over the course of your career and give you a GPA. For those of you who are studying at the University of the West Indies, you would put first class honors, upper second honors, or so forth. If you have not yet graduated, you're going to put in that not applicable. If you have a master's or other advanced degree, you would fill that in on the following. And you would also put underneath that the university from which you got the graduate degree and the area of study. So if you have a master's in computer science, you would put that there, or another field, that's fine as well. Okay, then if you have a graduate degree and you did a thesis or dissertation topic, you would put that thesis or dissertation topic. And for your graduate degree also, you're going to put either your GPA or your degree class, first, upper second, lower second, so forth. Okay. Now, if you are currently employed, you need to tell us what you do. So are you a front end or are you a back end? Tell us what you do in that bar, and how many years you have been working in the field. If you're doing a part-time job, and you could put that, because I know many students do part-time jobs. If you don't have a job, you can put not applicable, because I know many of you will be graduating this year and you do not have a job. And you will put how many years you're working in the field. And if you have any managerial or supervisory experience, that would be for those of you who are a little older. You could put that here. And if you have any supervisory experience, for example, where you're supervising a team, where there are 5 people on your team, you would write how many people reported to you. Again, this would be more for people who are a little bit older, maybe graduated a few years ago. Okay, when you type the password, you will not have access to this screen. This screen we're looking at, you do not have access to it because you don't have a password. So you will email me with your LinkedIn. And as soon as this is over, a member of my team will look at the emails and look up and send you a message on your LinkedIn. You will accept the LinkedIn connection. And then you will let us know whether you would like to upload. And if you let us know you would like to upload, we will then send you a password. Okay. So then if you have any internship experiences, please put that there. And if you have any volunteer experiences, have you volunteered at the Red Cross, at your church, at a children's home, those sort of things indicate character and leadership. You can put them there. If you have any cross-cultural experiences, if you have traveled, if you're West Indian, you might put that, because we come from very diverse societies. It indicates your ability to work with people of widely different ethnic and cultural groups. So if you have cross-cultural experiences, you should say that. If you have technical skills, we're going to, after this, look at a video which tells you how to do your resume. It is in your interest to list any programming languages that you have. And it might even be also in your interest, if you have a series of projects, to utilize GitHub or one of the other platforms and upload your projects there, so we might be able to see them. Where I have soft skills, I mean things like leadership, communication skills, those sort of those sorts of skills. That's what you would write there. Okay. And if you have other areas of expertise, for example, do you speak a foreign language? Other things that tell us that you have competencies in other areas that might be relevant, that might pull you out of the pile. And if you have any honorifics, for those of you, for example, if you have you might have honorifics even if you haven't graduated yet. You may be the member of a scientific honor society. They have undergraduates who are members of scientific honor societies. You might, if you have graduated, maybe you're a Commonwealth scholar or a Fulbright scholar or a Chevron scholar. Any of those things which would make you stand out from the crowd, you would also put those there, the honorifics. Okay. Professional achievements, anything additional that hasn't come up before that you want to let us know, please put that there. I had mentioned earlier your LinkedIn, you're going to send that, so because that's going to be the mechanism of us messaging you. We're going to use LinkedIn and not email. So you're only emailing me for the purpose of sending my LinkedIn, sending your LinkedIn, and then you watch LinkedIn for a connection. Sometimes it will come from my LinkedIn profile, Professor Eleanor Brown. You also put your GitHub so we can see what you have been working on. Then now there's going to be a file upload. Now, the first thing we're going to do is we're now going to talk about how you're going to effectively make your resume a one-page document. A few people will go over 1 pages, but very few. So at this point, you will see a link right underneath when you go on, and it will say, before you upload your resume, watch this video. That's important. You're going to watch it because we want the resume done in a particular way. And so I am now going to ask Panav to launch that video. Go ahead and launch the video, Panav, please.
Hi, I'm Jeremy and I'm a
Yes, great.
Okay, great.
And I'm Lizzie, a business recruiter. We're going to walk you through our tips and advice to help you prepare a strong resume that stands out for any job or internship at Google.
We'll also share tailored resume recommendations and examples for business and engineering and technical roles that you can apply to your resume right away. And feel free to skip ahead to specific timestamps noted in the description if you only want to watch certain parts of the video.
Let's get started with a few important basics for your resume overall, and then we'll walk you through everything you need to know for each section of the resume. To start, make sure the format is simple and consistent in design, font, sizing, and spacing throughout so that the person reviewing your resume can easily scan and find information quickly. Black ink is always a safe bet, but other font colors are okay as long as they're readable. And PDF formatting is preferred. Include your contact information and email at the top. You don't have to include objective statements, but if you do, make sure it's relevant to the job you've applied for. You also don't need to include references. Try to keep your resume to 1 page for business and internship roles, and no longer than 2 pages for engineering roles. Really focus on including what's relevant for the specific role you're applying for. Use bullet points with consistent formatting and structure throughout the resume rather than long paragraphs. And perhaps the most important tip we have overall is to always check for typos.
Now, a few additional basics for technical and engineering candidates. List your programming languages at the top of your resume and make sure you're comfortable interviewing in them. It's also critical you list your GitHub profile or other prominent open source work that shows us you're contributing to the open source community, passionate about the work you're doing, and looking to improve your skills.
For all resumes, it's important to use clearly delineated sections. Think about what a recruiter needs to know about you and your experience, and then organize them accordingly. If you're a student or recent grad, education should always be listed first. If you're an experienced industry professional, this section can be moved lower on the page. Experience should take up the bulk of your resume. If you have multiple distinct categories of experience, consider creating subsections for each. If you're a technical or engineering candidate, include personal or class projects next. We then recommend including a leadership and awards section. You can use an optional final section to tell us a little bit about yourself.
Now, let's walk through our advice and tips for each section. First up is education. Generally, the more recently you attended university, the more detail you should include here. So pay close attention if you're currently a student. Include all post-secondary institutions you've attended. and all degrees and majors with your most recent education first. Definitely include your actual graduation date if you've graduated, or the anticipated date if you're still enrolled, and always in the month-year format rather than season-year. For example, May 2017 instead of spring 2017. If you're a current student or recent grad, include your cumulative grade point average too. But don't be scared by this. Although GPA is a factor, we look at the whole package and understand that every school and student is different.
Experience is next on the list, and it can come in many different forms beyond jobs and internships. So if you're a student, be sure to include impact from things like academic research, teaching or tutoring experience, personal projects, and student group and class projects. If you're applying for technical or engineering roles, be sure to include any experience with open source, mobile app or web development, hackathons, and coding competitions. Think through all of your relevant experience for the role and then use these tips to showcase them on your resume. You'll want to list everything in reverse chronological order with your most recent experience first. Include your employer, position, and dates employed for all jobs and internships in the month-year format. Keep your bullet point descriptions concise and clear, and make the most of your space by streamlining bullet points that spill over onto the next line by only 1 or 2 words. And for each bullet, use action words like created, designed, debugged, negotiated, developed, managed, and so on, so the person reading your resume can easily and quickly understand your skills and experience.
A big tip here is to read the job description and look at the language it uses. Writing a resume for a specific job description takes a little bit of effort, but it can really help your application stand out. You can even bold and italicize keywords related to the job description to highlight your relevant skills and experience. It's important to focus on the results and impact of your work, so list metrics and examples concisely rather than writing long descriptions. Use data and comparisons or averages to provide context. We value data at Google and want to see you know how to apply it when speaking to your accomplishments. If you're applying for technical or engineering roles, be sure to include the programming language you used in bold for each project you include.
To ensure you focus on results and impact in this section, we recommend using this helpful framework. Accomplish X as measured by Y by doing Z. Let's walk through a few examples for different types of experience.
If you're applying for technical or engineering roles, this example should be particularly helpful. We have increased server query response time by 15% by restructuring API. This concisely conveys the impact backed up by data and communicates a skill. In this case, it's restructuring an API, but it could be experience like adding new hardware, algorithmic improvements, caching answers, or implementing machine learning.
Here's another example for those of you applying for business roles. The goal here is to convey account management experience. We have a good starting point with the first statement, and we can make it stronger with metrics. So it reads, grew revenue from small medium business clients by 10% quarter over quarter. Now, let's take it a step further by adding more context, so the final version reads, grew revenue from 15 small medium business clients by 10% quarter over quarter by mapping new software features as solutions to their business goals.
This framework is also helpful to apply to the next section of your resume, leadership and awards. Here you can include any relevant leadership positions, awards, university honors, scholarships, or other types of recognition. Let's look at an example. Here we want to communicate membership to a particular group or program. The initial statement can become stronger by including metrics. So it reads, selected as one of 200 participants for an 18-month professional development program for high-achieving Black and Latinx talent in tech. Let's take it a step further by adding more context, so the final version reads, selected as one of 230 participants nationwide for an 18-month professional development program for high-achieving Black and Latinx talent in tech based on leadership potential and academic success.
The last section of your resume should include anything else we should know about you, because we love learning about what makes you, you. This is particularly important if you're currently a student. Be sure to include any involvement you have in student groups, including multicultural, academic, community service, and social organizations, especially if you have a leadership position. And again, use the accomplished X as measured by Y by doing Z framework to communicate your impact. You can also link relevant publications, papers, patents, and conference presentations too. Those are a few ideas, but feel free to add any other meaningful extracurricular activities or experiences you might have in this section as well.
And those are our tips and advice to help your resume stand out. Check out the links in the description for more resources to help you prepare your application for Google. And head over to the careers site to see our open jobs and internships. We hope to see your resume soon.
Now, I should point out that most of you, in fact, all of you will be applying for technical positions. So that is really one of the best videos on how to do your resume. So you're going to focus on the advice on applying for technical positions, okay? Because irrespective of the company, with few exceptions, if you're applying for technical positions, that advice that was just given is good advice, okay? So, and if companies have different specifications, we will let you know at the point at which the company says, I'm interested in this candidate and I want to talk to them. I should point out that none of this is at any cost to you. Or any compensation to us comes from the company. So none of this is at any cost to you. That's very important to me, that students are not paying any cost. Okay, now this is important now. You're going to attach 2 additional pages to your resume. Remember, you're trying to make the resume 1 page, maximum 2. The first page after the resume, I want you to put your references. Please include 3 references, and you're giving me the contact details for 3 references. The first reference is an academic reference. So I put, for example, Dr. John Smith, lecturer, Department of Engineering, okay? And we want a reference provided you by someone who taught you in your core degree. So if you're doing computer science, we want a reference from somebody who taught you in computer science. You may have done a different class in economics, but we don't want the lecturer in economics. We want the lecturer in computer science. Okay, all you're giving me is the names and contact details, name, email, and if possible, a WhatsApp number. It's easiest for us to correspond with people by WhatsApp. Okay, so I say that now in detail. If you're an engineering student, the reference should be someone who taught you in engineering. If you're a computer science student, the reference should be someone who taught you in computer science. If you have another discipline, same thing, economics or natural science, yeah, there. As I say, we primarily are looking for people who have backgrounds in computer science or engineering, particularly software, electronics, or electrical. But if you have another area and you have some programming background and you're able to demonstrate that, please also submit. The second should be a current or former employer. Include the person's position, the name of the company you worked with. And the third should be a character reference, someone who can say that you're an honest, ethical person of integrity. A coach, a mentor, a pastor, a priest, a imam, a rabbi, or a community leader, someone who knows you well. And we want the email, if possible, their WhatsApp number, and if possible, their LinkedIn profile. And as I said, it's important to include the WhatsApp numbers because that's the easiest way to reach people, particularly people who are in different jurisdictions. And people are applying from all over the Caribbean. So, you know, some people will be applying from Antigua, some from St. Vincent, some from Barbados, some from Jamaica. So that's why it's important, if possible, to get a WhatsApp number. Okay, the second page now, I want the university transcript. This is a way of substantiating your degree, granting your grades, and verifying your identity. Now, typically, the proper transcript will have a stamp from the registrar of the university that granted your degree. If you graduated earlier than December 31st, 2019, we need an official transcript. The reason that I made it that if you graduated after December 31st, 2019, and an official transcript is not available, we should attach a temporary or provisional transcript. Please attach a letter from the registrar stating that the transcript is provided temporarily until an official transcript can be issued. The reason I did that is because of the difficulties of COVID. A lot of universities went online. Persons are working from home and zooming in, and it's generally for many people much more difficult to get an official transcript than it was earlier. So that is why I'm giving you the option of turning in a provisional transcript or a copy of your grades alongside a letter stating that that this is being provided until an official transcript can be issued. If they should also say when they expect that an official transcript can be issued. Okay, so this is what you're going to do. So you understand what page 1 is, the resume, you understand what page 2 is, the references, and you understand what page 3 is, which is the transcript, preferably official, with the university stamp on it. If not, unofficial with a statement that the official transcript is not available right now, but will be available in the future and will be uploaded at the time that it is available. Okay, so this is what you need to do. I've gone through it in detail to be sure that everybody is clear. We are evaluating many resumes. It is going to take us some time, so you're going to have to be patient with us because there are so many, and we're doing a detailed deep dive into it. So I am letting you know that so that you don't expect to hear back from us immediately. Are there any questions that I have not answered?
It says, as a first-year student, will Diversiboard be relevant to us at this time, or should we be further in our degree before we apply? I think you covered that, or am I wrong?
Yes, I did. So what I said is you can apply if you're a final year student. Final year. If you're going to get your degree in this year. Is there anybody else who wanted to ask anything? And if not, no problem. You can follow up by just emailing me with UWI Cave Hill student written in the title line, and email us at the info@diversiboard.com.
Hi, I have a question.
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, please go ahead.
Oh, right. Right, I'm in my final year, and I was just wondering, you said to attach the transcript. That's something you can get before you finish the degree. You don't have to be finished with the degree in order to get that, correct? No,
you can get a transcript either way. Because if you were applying, let us say you were applying for a Commonwealth or one of these other fellowships, you would need to get an official transcript. So even if you have not graduated, the university can give you an official transcript. What it will say is expected graduation date. So it will be clear that you have not yet graduated, but you will be graduating in the future. But they can provide a transcript.
All right, thank you.
I appreciate everybody's time. I really appreciate it. And should you all have any further questions, you just send an email to info@diversiboard.com. And if you'd like to upload, you can send an email now and just include your LinkedIn profile with it, please.
That video by Google about the resume, that's on YouTube. You could just go and find that, or?
Yes, you will get that video. If you're going to upload, right at the place where you upload, it says, prior to uploading, watch this video.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Thank you. And again, I'm delighted. I always like to meet bright young people. And since I'm a Caribbean person, even, particularly delighted to meet bright young Caribbean people. So I really am very happy that you all turned out. And if you have friends who are not able, you can let them contact Dawn Marie's office, and she will give them password protected access to this video. And so they can watch for themselves. And you can also let them know that they can email me at info@diversiboard.com, email us at info@diversiboard.com, and just put in the title UWI KPhil student or UWI KPhil graduate. Okay, thank you very much. Dawn Marie, I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you as well, Professor Brown, and
yes,
thank you, students, for listening. Yes.